Hi everybody, this is Forum 7, Module 7, and this week we were asked to discuss Simonson's equivalency theory and how it might affect universities and K-12 institutions with regards to development, implementation, and also how they manage a distance learning program. So I wanted to start by a quote from Desmond Keegan, 1996, that says, "Distance education is a system of education. It can provide a complete educational program for both children and adults outside of and distinct from conventional oral and group-based provision. It has its own laws of didactical structure and its own quasi-industrial administrative procedures." So I think it's important to keep that in mind, that we're dealing with two different systems of education. And then according to Simonson, talking about equivalency theory in 2009, he said, "For distance education to be successful in the U.S., its appropriate application should be based on the approach that the more equivalent the learning experience to the distance students are to that of the local students, then the more equivalent will be the outcomes of the learning experience." So we want the learning experiences of the distance students to be on the same level with those of the local students. We're not saying that they have to be identical, but equivalent. And so with regards to those three categories in the prompt: development, implementation, and management of a distance learning program, I'll start with development. And I think the most important part was that you cannot substitute a traditional course for a distance learning program. And that was mentioned in our text in the 2006 report by the Department of Education, where they threw up a red flag saying that that is just ineffective and will not work to try to substitute those courses. We should create those courses with the instructional objectives in mind. So we're working backwards, starting with the objective. And there was a quote by Simonson and Schlosser: "If the distance education course is effectively designed and equivalent experiences are available to the students, then the potential learners will reach the course's instructional objectives," which is what every teacher wants to happen. Another two things under that category: text selection, engaging lessons, and discussion boards, remembering that we want equivalent outcomes rather than identical outcomes. Audience appropriate material delivery. What works for elementary students is not going to work for a college or a high school classroom in distance learning or in any classroom. Implementation of the distance learning program. I thought about administrative tasks, rubrics, and for there to be constant assessing of the professor by the professor. Management of the distance learning program, going to have to think about how transitions are going to happen in a distance learning classroom and giving students an opportunity for processing time, without losing them completely. And then what student assessments are going to look like, both formative and summative, because again, those are going to look differently in a distance learning classroom. So I thought it was interesting, thinking about equivalent yet not identical. And so I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks. Bye.